All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming tonight to the Planning and Zoning Commission, our regular meeting. We're going to open it up with a citizens' general discussion. This would be if you have something that you'd like to speak about that is not on the agenda for tonight. All right, I'll go ahead and close the general discussion. First up, we have the approval of minutes. Commissioners, is there a motion?
Move to approve.
All those in favor of approving the minutes from March 18th, 2026, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
I abstain.
Thank you. All right. First up, application number RZ 2026-9624. Applicant Tammy Mayo is requesting approval of a rezone of property located at 185 East Park Street, parcel R30317, being block 138, lot 7 of the S2600 City Edition of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from B2 Retail and Commercial to R2.5 Integrated Housing. Mr. Killen.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Staff's been working with the Mayos for a few months now, and we've had several discussions with them, and just recently, after a meeting with the Mayos, they had indicated they had maybe a change in plans is what they wanted to do with these two properties on Park. First one is 185 Park. Both requests will be similar in nature for the project. So they are asking for a rezone to R2.5 zoning. This will remove it from the retail and commercial zoning, but it does, you can see on the map here on the screen, left-hand side, that there is a single-family home. It will be the adjacent property to 185 or 195. They are looking to combine these two parcels in this development, put a site plan together, and then see if they can get a few single-family lots on the two parcels combined. And then once we look at that site plan and talk through some of the development items such as setbacks and utilities, that type of thing, if they choose to move forward at that time, they will come back with a preliminary plat for that development, and we will bring that to you for consideration at that point. So again, they are looking to rezone to allow them to build single-family homes on the combined parcels. If you look at the map on your right-hand side, we show that there's water and sewer available in Park Street. And as we get deeper into the discussion with the Mayos, with our review team, we'll make certain that they have adequate fall to connect to those utilities, or at least the sewer. The rezone request does comply with the future land use designation of complete neighborhood, which allows for a mixture of different types of housing. So single-family housing would certainly fall into that category. The Mayos are here tonight. Should you have any questions for them? And of course, I'd be glad to answer any questions the board may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Steve? Mr. and Mrs. Mayo, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, really, it'd be probably pretty good. We're still in the preliminary stages here, but just being.
All right, thank you.
Exactly what we're looking at.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak against this rezone request? Is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor? All right, I'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, we need a motion.
Make a motion, recommend to council approval of RZ 2026-9624.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor of recommending to council approval of this rezone request, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, next up, rinse and repeat. Application number RZ 2026-9625, applicant Tammy Mayo is requesting approval of a rezone property located at 195 East Park Street, parcel R30318, being block 138, lot 8 and 9 of the S2600 City Edition of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from B2 Retail and Commercial to R2.5 Integrated Housing. Mr. Killen, anything new?
No, ma'am. Same comments. His sister property. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? I'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak against this rezone request? Anybody wish to speak in favor? Close the public hearing. Commissioners, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion for council to approve, RZ 2026-9625.
Second.
Nick got it under the wire, Bruce. All right. The motion stands to recommend to council approval of this rezone request. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. So that will go in front of the city council, first Tuesday of the month, and you'll want to be present for that, but your job here is done. Thank you very much. All right, the next item was pulled, so I'm moving down the agenda to application number RZ 2026-9653. Applicant Venino Mascoro is requesting approval of a rezone of property located at 610 Old Granbury Road, parcel R25183, being block 160, lot 11, PTOF of the S2600 City Edition of the City of Stephenville, Ariel County, Texas, from I Industrial to R 2.5 Integrated Housing. Mr. Killen.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I'm going to apologize in advance. I will not be able to pronounce that last name as you did.
A maiden attempt.
But he is requesting to rezone from industrial to R 2.5 to allow for the construction of single-family home. As you can see in the map on the screen on the left-hand side, he is surrounded by industrial properties. However, the middle map is our future land use, which designates this property as community core. And if you look on the following page, the community core allows for diverse housing types, and then local businesses, grocery stores, cafes, et cetera, in that particular designation. So it would adhere to the future land use plan. There is water available in Old Granbury Road. The sewer for this property is in the vicinity, but when I looked at the topo maps, it might be a little challenging to get the sewer there without some type of possibly on-site lift station. There's also the fact that they would have to obtain private sewer easements across adjacent properties to be able to serve the property. The other alternative would be if there could be an on-site sewage system approved for the development. The rezone, if approved, again aligns with the community core designation, and I believe the applicant is present tonight. I do want to point out that we received one letter of opposition. That letter, in summary, mentioned the surrounding industrial zone properties and heavy industrial uses in the area. One other comment was that some of the homes in the area are legal non-conforming uses in essence, whereas the new home would be built in an industrial zone and not necessarily in compliance with the current zoning district. Again, in consideration of future land use, it would be compliant with the 2050 comprehensive plan. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Steve?
On how much land would, or how much square footage will they need for a septic system on the property?
Yeah, generally, that's an acre requirement. We'd have to look at that and possibly make an exception to that through the variance process, which is handled differently than the Board of Adjustment type variance. And to your point, sir, one thing I failed to mention, if I may, generally we require a 40-foot frontage for any parcel that's going to be developed. And looking at the frontage for this particular parcel on Old Granbury Road, they're roughly 32 feet. So we would have to also go to the Board of Adjustment to ask for a variance for the frontage requirement. I failed to mention that, so thank you.
All right, other questions for Steve?
What would be the entrance requirements off Old Granbury Road width-wise? At only 31 feet, is that wide enough to accommodate a?
Yeah, so 40-foot frontage required, which they don't meet, we could possibly get that through Board of Adjustment, and then the driveway approach can be as narrow as 18 feet.
Mr. Mascaro, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
You say it requires 45,
If you could come up to the microphone, thank you.
you say the requirement is 45 feet wide on the front entrance? You say
For the
something?
property, Steve, you were saying
Or
that.
40-foot lot requirement for any lot developed in the city requires a minimum of 40-foot frontage on the road that services the property.
40-foot frontage.
Correct.
45,
40,
40, and right now it's like 30, 32?
I don't know. So what, did you want to talk about the development of the property?
Yes,
Okay, are you the owner?
my dad.
Okay, so he's wanting to develop this property?
Yes.
Okay. So what did you want to tell us about the property?
Well, so we just want to build like a house in there, but the
Okay.
problem is the approved or is going to be a problem with that?
Oh, there'll be further steps along the way. So
Okay.
if you get this approved,
Okay.
then there will be further approvals that you'll have to go to because the size of the property
Okay.
is too narrow.
It's an error, yeah.
Yeah,
Small
so you would go
property.
through a variance
Okay.
request for that.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
If this got approval, we can go to the next step?
correct, like
Okay.
you would move on to the next
All
step.
right, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open a public hearing. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak against this rezone request?
Yes, sir.
All right, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Absolutely. Hello, good evening. My name is Ben Mascaro for 625 Old Granbury Road. I'm here to speak on behalf of David and Mary Mascaro, my parents. They did email that opposition email, which you guys have in your packet. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to read that email in a public forum, just so everyone is aware. So, as stated, as property owners who were born and resided in Steenville for over 60 years, we respectfully oppose the applicant's rezoning request from industrial to integrated housing. We own the surrounding and adjoining parcels on 3 sides of the subject property, specifically R67981, R67967, R25122, R64144, R25221. The subject property is surrounded by parcels that are exclusively zoned industrial, forming a cohesive area intended for industrial and commercial activity. Rezoning a single parcel to integrated housing would create an isolated and incompatible land use, conflicts with surrounding properties. While our homestead is located in the area, it predates the current zoning patterns. This request would introduce a single-family home in the middle of an industrial zoned area, which is not comparable. Additionally, the future land use map, originally part of the 2030 comprehensive plan, did include on page 57 of the Steenville 2050 comprehensive plan, designate this area for commercial use. While the area is identified as part of the community core, the applicant's proposal is to build a single-family residence. This does not reflect a planned, coordinated, or high-density mixed-use development envisioned by this designation. Instead, it introduces an isolated single-family home in the middle of an industrial zoned area without any supporting mixed-use context, making it inconsistent both with surrounding land use and the city's long-term planning vision. Further, the property is located in the designated target employment area, which you can see on page 13 and 197 of the comprehensive plan. The stated goal is to support and invest in areas that enable industries to locate, expand, and create jobs. Rezoning the property to allow for a single resident conflicts with that objective and diminishes opportunities for larger economic development within the priority growth area. Also identified in the staff report, as Mr. Kellen mentioned, the sewer service to the property may require private easements, a private lift station, or a waiver to allow for on-site sewer system. These requirements further demonstrate the property is not best suited, or well suited, for a single home and would require additional accommodations. Finishing up here, the industrial zoning allows for noise, heavy truck traffic, and extended operating hours. Introducing a single-family home in the middle of an industrial commercial area creates an incompatible land use and increases the likelihood of future conflict. For these reasons, we respectfully urge the P and Z Commission to not recommend the rezoning request and maintain the current industrial zoning designation in alignment with the comprehensive plans and the city's economic development goals. Respectfully, David and Mary Mascaro.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody else here who would like to speak against this rezone request? Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor? All right, I will close the public hearing. Commissioners, we need a motion.
I make a motion that we deny the application.
I'll second.
Discussion?
You second?
Yeah, I said discussion.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. It's just a bad idea to break up a contiguous industrial zone of property, because generally, when you locate an industry, you need a much larger parcel than you do for residential. And to break that up makes it actually less valuable as the surrounding area would be for industrial use, which is what this is obviously designed for. I mean, there's several heavy industries right in that area now.
But it does fit with the future land use.
Up in Stephenville, we're kind of running out of industrial too.
Well, future land use will alter that as well, right? Because of our new comprehensive plan, right? Those will all fall away, those divisions, right? So in terms of running out, we won't be running out, because we're redefining how we do that entirely. Are we ready to vote? We're gonna do a roll call vote. So the motion that currently stands is to recommend to council denial of this request. Brian?
Yep.
Yes, you're an aye. Bruce?
Aye.
Lisa? Aye. I'm a no. Tyler?
I'm a no.
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 Nixon, no, and James?
No.
No. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 no's to 3 ayes. Okay, Steve, that,
So you didn't get the votes required to act on the motion. It will move forward to council
without a recommendation. Okay, so since we did not get the votes required, that moves forward to council without a recommendation. So what this means is that it will go to council first Tuesday of next month. And I would recommend everybody attend and do the process all over again, and they will make the final decision. All right, thank you, gentlemen. All right, the last item on the agenda is application number 2026, considering updating the city's thoroughfare plan / Harbin Road extension. Mr. Killen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The proposed modification is to better align the Harbin Road extension and better serve future development of properties south and west of the current Harbin Road access point. This will modify the thoroughfare plan that was adopted in the 2050 Stephenville plan, or Stephenville 2050 plan. That was adopted, I believe, in August of 2023. And since that time, we have found that the thoroughfare plan that was presented in that comprehensive plan just doesn't really make a lot of sense as far as how it's lined out and so if you're looking at the map on the screen, the dotted blue line from the Harbin Road access point onto 377. So for everyone that may not be real familiar with it, we're talking about this extension that begins here. So it comes across 377, dead ends right here about the Hampton
Inn, yeah.
Inn. From this point, we don't really know how it's going to get across this property, but we do know that it needs to go west. This has been kind of a long-term plan. What happened in the comprehensive Stephenville 2050 plan is it cuts off the corner of the Hampton Inn, cuts across a couple of properties, and then out here is an actual pretty substantial water body in a Pittman Lake, I believe. I'm not recalling the name of it on the top of my head. But it actually crosses this lake and then extends across several properties. Obviously, we're not wanting to build a bridge or be in the ferry boat business, so we're needing to change that a little bit, which would allow, we actually did a city study with permission from this property owner. We surveyed this piece out. That's something that we think may eventually happen in the future. And then as it cuts west, it will dip down below where this lake is located and then come back up and share the property line with these parcels to the north. This 212 acres is currently held by some developers, and they are interested in trying to get something moving forward on this property, as well as some of the other properties in the area. We have some opportunities that are being discussed, and so, one last point I'd like to make about a thoroughfare plan. A thoroughfare plan is basically similar to a comprehensive plan. It is not defined as a 100% locked in or written in stone type plan. It is a plan, and it is a guiding document, but city ordinance does allow variations to the thoroughfare plan as developments come online and we see the need to make those modifications. So simply what we're trying to do here is to correct something that we know is not feasible, bring something in that we feel touches the properties that will be coming to the city for future development, and then hopefully present that in a way that will provide access to those properties for development, and do so in a manner that we can get the infrastructure there in a way that can serve those properties as we move forward towards that 2050 mark. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. My first question is, that piece of property that borders on Cedar Street or Cedar Road or whatever it is, has obviously been controversial because there's been a lot of people show up testifying on that. Does this new proposed route get us to that property?
Yes, sir. This is the 49 acres that you're referring to.
Yeah,
And then, so it will come down to
Okay.
49 acres. It's actually showing to have the full dedication from this point to here.
I see.
on the
So,
49 acres.
then, when this is put in, any development on that property then would not be exclusively served by Cedar Street, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, good. That was my question.
Other questions? No? All right, I'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to speak against this proposed extension? Is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor? Mr. Canute, if you'd like to come up to the,
fill out a sheet, is that all right?
no, come on up.
All right.
Come on up, give us your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
It's Malcolm Canute. My address is 755 FM 1824 Hyco. We are currently, my company, Keyway Development's the contract purchaser for the 49 acres. And I wouldn't say I'm here specifically to speak against this proposal. I have been in the offices of the development department and city staff multiple times discussing this. I just would like an explanation of how 100% of this 100-foot right-of-way has been shifted from properties where none of the right-of-way was being proposed to the north onto the 49 acres, and now 100 foot of it is now proposed on the 49 acres. To me, that doesn't make sense. There's the proportionality aspect of the future development here, and it seems to me like that right-of-way should be equally shared, as was discussed with members of the city staff and the city manager in the past, that 50% of that right-of-way would fall if we were to move forward with our development in some fashion on this property on the 49 acres and not the 100% of it. To arbitrarily lift that off of properties that it 100% sits on and place 100% of it on this property, to me, doesn't make sense, and I have to question who has the authority to do that. I'm not saying we're against the future Harbin going in that direction. We proposed an alternate route that I think, from a development point of view, makes as much or more sense and is more cost effective. And we'll repropose that at some point, but to change the thoroughfare plan right now, without further discussion on where the responsibility of that right-of-way rests, I think is premature.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wishes to speak against this? Yes, sir. Please state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Mike McCowan, and my address is 3116 Pampa in Grand Prairie. I'm one of the developers that's purchasing some of the land out there. Don't have an opposition to changing this road, because obviously we cannot build a bridge, okay? But the 100-foot right-of-way is a major concern, okay? It's a major concern because every Texas street, a lane is 12 feet, okay? So if you have 2, that's 48, 4 is, or 24, then 48 plus gutters, so you're figuring about 55 feet. You're really having us build a 45-foot median in the middle of this. Where this becomes a problem is it's a massive safety issue, number one, because this thoroughfare is supposed to have no stop signs and no stoplights. So if you go from Lockhart to the end of the 49 and you've got a 40-foot median and there's no stoplights or stop signs, it's going to turn into Stephenville Speedway. Okay. The other issue is the cost factor. Okay. Not mentioning, as Malcolm mentioned, it is very obtrusive to some of the land, and some of the people have to absorb all of it, and some people are going to have none of it. You have Caporal, which is not willing to do anything. Okay. So that would force the people that own the 212 to run all 100 feet on their land. So it's very invasive to multiple landowners out there and not needed. Okay. The other thing is the cost issue. When you start talking about 100 feet versus a 50 feet, on each piece of parcel, it's the difference of about $1.8 million to $3.5 million building a road that's not needed. Okay. You're also taking out the ability for us to build sidewalks because there's no land left over. You're using it all for a median that the city's going to have to pay to maintain. Okay. This whole area is designated for PIDs and TERS. The problem with PIDs is that has to be approved through the state. How do we get a road approved through something as small as this and have to pass down to homeowners that's going to be essentially responsible for another $150 to $250 a month on their house payment because we built an unnecessary road? So all I'm asking is that we reduce the 100 to 50 where it's safer, more economical. We can get the houses so Stephenville can take care of their residents and get the tax revenue. But 100 feet is massively unnecessary, okay? And it's never going to be doable through that area, okay? Not when you have 4 or 5 different landowners, different developers, they're not willing to absorb that cost. They can't. If they have to absorb that cost, there's no reason for them to build out there. So when you're doing your comprehensive plan on trying to redesign it, please take that into consideration. Steve has my number. I'm more than willing to bring my PID administrator down here who does about 50% of the PIDs in Texas, and he can explain how those have to work and how that could be detrimental to the borrowers, the city, and the developer. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody else wish to speak against this?
I've got a little to say on that, please.
All right, sir.
My name's Ralph Lee, and I'm one of the landowners. And at 100 feet, you're taking up some awfully expensive land. We really want to build something over there. But when you got some stumbling blocks like this in the way, it makes it harder for us to do it. And I hope you take that into consideration, because we'd like to see Stephenville grow. And that's the big issue, the cost effect of that. Plus, the city's going to have to maintain that median, and that's going to cost the city, which is definitely costing the taxpayer in the long run. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else wish to speak against this update? Does anybody wish to speak in favor of this update?
Not to speak out of turn, but I think we're all in favor of updating. We can't
Gotcha.
have a road through the lake,
Okay.
you know. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a Steve, I don't want a ferry boat, and I don't want a Louisiana 8-mile bridge over the swamp either.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Got it. Okay, going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Commissioners, we need a motion so that we can discuss.
I'll make a motion that we approve this with certain alterations.
Recommend
With
to approve.
recommend approval of this with certain alterations.
Don't know if we can do that.
Yeah, we're not asking for, from city staff level, we're not asking for any alternate plans
Suggestions.
being discussed tonight. We're asking for a thumbs up or thumbs down on the
Right.
modification that's being proposed.
Right, so you're recommending to a council approval or non-approval?
As it sets right now,
Correct,
with no modifications?
correct.
I'll make a motion to deny.
Recommend to deny?
Recommend to deny it then.
Second.
That's Nick. All right, discussion. Nick, you want to talk about?
I think there's a lot here that needs to be discussed, and I understand that we're being tasked with one of two things. But I think there's a whole big picture here that needs to be discussed, and just modifying the thoroughfare plan seems to be a cart before the horse.
Further discussion?
Has there been opposition? I think I understood that from the discussion of sharing that space, because it appears to be the property line, obviously, is where the road primarily is set right now. But as it gets to this parcel on the end, the 49 acres, it does dip below the property line. Is there opposition to that from other property owners? Is that the reason, or is that?
Steve?
So I'll attempt to answer that with the information I have available. The design as it's being presented as a modification is based on what our current knowledge is on projects that are currently being discussed and how we will be able to obtain right-of-way in order to serve that area. The line can be drawn differently, no doubt, but the realistic approach of can we actually get the right-of-way, there would be several obstacles if we tried to move it to the top, several obstacles if we tried to move to the bottom. So based on the developments that we think may be coming down the pipe in the near future, we feel that this is the route that could possibly get us the right-of-way that we need to serve the area. Harbin Road, to address one of the comments, is a 100-foot right-of-way from 988 Senator Robert J. Glasgow Loop all the way down to the terminus there at the Hampton Inn location. We're wanting to extend that as a 100-foot right-of-way. We're talking about 600 acres roughly of development, and that can generate a lot of homes and a lot of traffic. And so we want to make sure that we can serve that area. I'm not aware of the thoroughfare not being able to have stops or lights. Harbin Road has several as it's already constructed, and I believe as we bring developments on and we do traffic impact analysis, those type of things would be determined through that information that we get at that point. But I again want to make one point relating to this modification. This is not something that will be presented in, well, let me rephrase this. Just as a comprehensive plan, a thoroughfare plan is a guiding document. It's to help us plan for future development. However, it is not something that cannot be changed, and in the city ordinance, there is a specific provision that grants the city manager the ability to make revisions to the thoroughfare plan. And the point of what we're trying to do tonight is to get it into a, to line it in a way that we feel will allow us to possibly get the right of way as we move forward, knowing that we may need to make modifications to that as the developments come online. And so each development as they begin their process, in theory, could approach the city manager and make their request to modify the thoroughfare plan based on how that development is proceeding. Bigger picture is we have to think about everything that's gonna develop in the future, and get us all the way across and back up to Washington off of Lockhart Road. Lots of rambling, I hope I've answered some of the questions. It's a guiding document, not necessarily, something that cannot be changed as the needs arise. Thank you.
Can I make one more comment?
I'm sorry, public hearing is closed. All right, Commissioner?
Steve, I got a question for you. Does this give the access needed with the plan in place to move forward with the full development of the 49 acres? I think there was a difference in 35 or 37 homes versus 41, 45 homes.
Currently working with a developer on his plan, which I do believe is 37 homes.
That was without the fire top for the other access. So does the
He has
plan
a-
grant that access, or does the road have to have construction plans in place to suffice?
That's, it's a great question. It
Okay.
remains under discussion with city staff and the developer.
Steve, I have a
Ultimately-
question for what you were saying earlier. So if there's just if something changes slightly, it won't have to be approved every single time. The city manager will be able to sign off on that?
That's correct. There's a process where the city manager can make modifications to the thoroughfare plan.
Okay.
I wasn't trying to not answer the question.
Yeah.
As far as the extension onto the 49 acres, future plans or future phases for that particular project, all of those items are still being considered. In fact, we had a meeting earlier today with the developer and several staff members talking about that same question. And so, don't know that we've made a final conclusion on that yet, and we can continue to look at what's best for the developer and the city as a whole. Thank you.
Okay, if we're done with our discussion, I'm gonna do a roll call vote. So the motion as it stands is to recommend denial to city council. Brian, where do you stand? Aye? So recommend denial. Bruce?
Aye.
Lisa?
No.
I am also a no. Tyler? Nick?
Aye.
And James?
No.
No. So we've got a 4-3. So this also will go forth to council without a recommendation.
4-3 vote on the
One,
denial.
two, oh, sorry, 4-3 on a denial. So that will go forth with a recommend to deny to council.
Simple majority. to
Simple majority.
Recommend a denial.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, my apologies. Okay, so that's where that stands. We need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, sir. All right, thank you all for coming tonight. Appreciate your time.